Hey Google, who do I know, or who does this world know that combines biohacking, modern science, and ancestral wisdom?
Jarrod Conroy.
Oh, brilliant! Welcome to our Hey Google podcast, Jared. Nice to have you here, man.
Hey Nick, it's really good to be here, and I love how we connected such a short time ago, and we're sitting here today having a
And
podcast together.
we connected deeply on
We,
a deep level, like almost straight away, which was it's rare to find that, I think.
yeah, it was. We had that kind of that first catch up, and then sort of the second catch up. We kind of opened up
Yeah.
the shirt and kind of went pretty deep to the point where we had waitresses coming up to us going like, "Wow, what you guys were talking about was amazing!" Like almost like they just wanted to be friends with us and kind of get to know what we were talking about because they could kind of pick up on our
Yeah.
energy and they were kind of eavesdropping as well.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah,
it was cool.
nice. So for those that don't know you, Jared, tell us a little bit about what you do. Let's talk about professionally and then tell me a bit about what you love to do.
Yeah, sure. So I kicked off my career as an electrician. So left school sort of year 11, wasn't really sort of fitted into the whole sort of education system. Wanted to kind of do my own thing and create my own sort of sovereignty and independence. So yeah, decided to leave school end of year 11 and kind of explored different trades to do. And everyone was saying Sparkies get paid the most. So my
Yeah.
kind of entrepreneurial sort of business mind kind of jumped straight into the electrical trade. And yeah, I worked in that industry as an apprentice for 3-4 years and quickly got my license and started my own business. And that was the time sort of about 10 years ago when the renewable energies industry sort of kicked off in Australia, where there were lots of different government subsidies sort of coming into play. So I naturally fell into the renewable energy industry and started my own business. That was 8 years ago, and sort of fast forward today now, I've created 3 renewable energy companies. I've got 35 staff across 3 businesses, and grown from like doing residential sort of work to working in commercial industrial space and developing our own solar farms and moving into other sort of technologies and things like soil carbon sequestration, where we're looking at soil health and how we can bring our soil back to the levels of health we experienced hundreds of years ago. So
Yeah, dude, you're a baller. You're a baller in the renewable energy sector, aren't you?
Yeah, it's been just good timing to be in the sector because it's
Yeah.
literally gone from 0 to 100 over the past sort of 10 years. So it was definitely I had timing on my side. I kind of got in there and I had that kind of back end installation experience, and I just surrounded myself with good people and quickly learned how to sell and how to market and how to build back end, front end teams and scale a business.
Yeah.
I think one of my core sort of attributes is, I'm a big risk taker as well. So, having, calculated sort of risk analysis and kind of jumping into different ventures, that kind of paid off for me,
Yeah.
rather than being kind of conservative and holding back. I'm kind of an all-in type of guy.
What's the ratio from small risks taken to big risks? So like if you had to lay that out on say a piece of paper, how many high risk decisions would you make as opposed to small risk?
I definitely more heavily weighted to the high risk. I guess the way I operate is like not to come from a place of fear. So I don't really have too many limiting beliefs to what I can achieve. So if I can see somebody else has done it or somebody else is thinking about doing it, I kind of just back myself and do it. I don't kind of sit around and sort of procrastinate. I kind of just back myself and take sort of anything on. So if I see a possibility or a vision or an outcome that I'd like to fulfill, I kind of just go, yep, let's do it. Kind of strap myself in
Yeah.
and kind of jump into it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, look, I've done some business deals that have gone south and I've lost money, but I've also learnt a lot as well. So yeah, probably not a lot of, due diligence and things like that. A lot of kind of intuition and, if I resonate with someone or, I've done a lot of stupid things as well in my earlier days, but yeah, more from just, I guess, backing myself than being like the the engineer mind that's going to sit there and do due diligence and research everything 5-6 times and, you know, cross-reference everything I do. I'm just like, nah, let's do it.
It's the testosterone in us men that makes us do the stupid things.
Right, yeah. And mine's pretty high as well. So.
That's how you know you got high testosterone, if you're doing stupid things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we kind of got that from our, you know, our childhood, didn't we, you know?
The monkey in us.
Yeah, like climbing trees, you know, I broke my arm 3 times, you know, riding motorbikes, all that sort of stuff. So,
really?
Yeah.
Jeez. Dude, I've had some pretty bad stacks riding a dirt bike. I once went around, do you know the term, is it dirt bikes that you rode?
I rode the first time I rode a dirt bike, I broke my arm, so I didn't really, I didn't get back on the dirt bikes, but you know, I was heavily into downhill mountain bike riding, like 4-cross racing. You know, me and my mates would, you know, for like 4 or 5 years straight, all we would be to go into the woods and build dirt jumps, and you know, my mum drove me and a bunch of mates up to Thredbo one year for the national downhill mountain bike championships. When we were still in.
You competed?
Yeah, when we were still in year 9. My high school at the time, one of the PE teachers got into it, so there was a bit of a community that was built in the school, and you know the older kids kind of got the younger kids into it, and yeah, that created a lot of fulfillment for me in my younger days as well. And looking back on it now, it's just so great to spend so much time in nature. But you know, as a child, I didn't really have that connection to how important it was to be grounded in earth and to spend time in nature. But you know, I was literally hands in mud and dirt every weekend. You know, building dirt jumps, and it was great. Yeah.
I feel like we come back to it if it was really in us. Like, even though we may not have had it as a child. Like when we have the ability to do things that we want to do or we can do, we go back to the things that we love. Like we love being in nature, so you always go back, right?
It's built into our DNA, right? Yeah, it's from our, you know, primal ancestral days. Like,
exactly.
That hasn't changed.
And there's something about being in the woods, in nature and forest, that's just so calming and relaxing. And if you find a little bit of water anywhere, that trickle of water is just like, it changes your entire brain, how you think. Even if it is for that time, and then maybe for a few more weeks afterwards, it's kind of nice. You feel relaxed and calm, and yeah. Totally.
Like, yeah, the more elements we can experience in any given time, I feel like, then yeah, that definitely sort of amplifies the experience in nature. So if you've got the trees that are thousands of years old, and you've got the creeks that are running, and then you've got, you know, organic soil, you've got the sun coming down, you've got the wind around you, you know, that's essentially all the elements in one experience.
Did you, an interesting young gentleman, from the conversations we've had in the past, you're just on a different frequency to most people, and I love that.
Yeah, thank you,
absolutely
man.
Love that.
Thank you.
We can, like, just the things you were saying last time about going out to get what you want, and we had a conversation about asking the universe versus taking from the universe. And what you said about just putting your thoughts up in a certain frequency, and a different frequency, and it comes to you. I thought that was pretty interesting, but I can't remember the name of the person that you told me to look up.
Yeah, it might have been someone like Joe Dispenza.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, yeah, and like that sort of doing work with people like Joe Dispenza now. You know, I went through a big sort of hero's journey and a long path to kind of arrive at, you know, the law of vibration and quantum physics, the stuff that Joe Dispenza goes into. But essentially my path started off looking for more and searching for more answers when I was kind of 18, 19. I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. It wasn't super severe where I was like, you know, at home and couldn't do anything, but it was definitely enough to knock me around a bit. And like, I was still functional. I'd play football and still go to work, you know, but sometimes I was going to the toilet 15, 20 times a day, and I'd be passing blood through, and I was having to get, you know, like iron infusions to get my energy levels up again. But yeah, it was a real sort of up and down for me. And, you know, I started off in the hospital system, you know, having colonoscopies and, you know, the specialist doctors, you know, kind of giving me the feedback that they don't know why people end up with this. There's no cure. There's very little we know about this. However, we do have a bunch of pharmaceutical drugs that we can subscribe you to for the rest of your life that may or may not support, you know, the symptoms that you're experiencing. So, you I think I went on to my first bout of steroids from this doctor, and, was making sort of very little difference. And I think quickly my, my soul and my intuition was like, something's not right here. And that was it's kind of how I work in business as well. It's kind of like working things out for myself, and, just like being a leader and looking at the cause and the effect of things. So I quickly kind of went down a different sort of holistic path and started researching, all things about the gut and the gut-mind connection, and, fertility in the gut, and the things that we're putting in our body, and things like glyphosate and GMOs, and how that's impacting our gut health, and food additives and junk food, processed food, what stress was doing to the body, how my thoughts at the time were contributing to what was going on in my body. I used to bottle up a lot as a kid, so I definitely feel like there was a connection between bottling things up and then having, problems with my digestive system, because essentially my digestive system was just hanging on to everything, and it wasn't flowing as it was supposed to. So I quickly exited the hospitals and the doctors, never went back again, and, just started getting onto more sort of holistic sort of supplementation and nutrition. And I ended up actually shutting down my business at one point, because I noticed a bit of improvement. I got into some probiotics and some super greens and some fibers. Was feeling really good at the time, and I was like, what am I kind of doing in life? And so I ended up, shutting down my business and kind of
Really?
going around the world for about 9 months. Not around the world, but I went to, the US, Central, South America, went to the jungle for 6 months, and, drank some medicine with a bunch of, the elders out in the Amazon, and really sort of found myself. And, just one thing kind of led to another. As soon as that sort of exploration into sort of more opened up, that was kind of the domino effect that kind of has led me to having conversations with you around, like, what is reality, quantum physics, law of vibration.
Dude, that's
how we create everything with what we think and what we believe and what we experience.
That's a deep conversation to have. Especially with someone you've just met.
Yeah, right.
But we went down that rabbit hole a little bit. I think we just peeked in.
Yeah, well, I'm at this point, like, I think a lot of people are, we're in 2020 now. It's clear vision. So I'm like, I actually struggle having small chat with people, especially at parties or on the street. It's like,
oh, man,
how are you? Like, what's like, can you believe the weather yesterday? Like, it's just like, I just can't do it, So if I'm going to like invest my time with someone, I just need to connect with them straight away. And especially if I resonate with someone, there's some magic there. So you may as well just, cut straight to the connection and build some relatability with the other person.
Yeah. So the other day we, my partner and I, we laid on the beach at nighttime and just stared at the stars. And the train of thought that goes through your mind, like, hey, for me, it always brings me back to the point, like, what the hell are we doing here? I have no idea. You look at how vast everything is, and you're just a small little speck of just matter, just doing your thing. And does it matter? Does it not matter? There's so many questions unanswered. And I'm like, nah, I'm going home. I can't deal with these questions anymore.
I know, right? It's like we make everything so like significant in this world, whereas we're just like a speck in the cosmos, right? And
the older I get, the question of like, what is the meaning of life just seems to be pounding at me more and more. Like, what are you doing here? I just don't understand. It's these questions now. I'm going a bit crazy thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then you die.
Right.
Like, what? Come on, man. You live your life asking a question, what's the meaning of life? And then you just die.
We leave our skin bags, and then we kind of
go somewhere else.
Move into another skin bag pretty quickly, right?
There was a good analogy about your TV, right? Like your TV, it represents the human body, right? But what makes it alive, or what makes it its character, is the TV show, right? The TV show is coming down from a signal from somewhere, right? If the TV breaks or the TV dies, does it mean that the signal's not there anymore?
Yeah, that's a cool analogy.
I know that's it might not be exactly, but it's because like when you talk to yourself, who the hell are you talking to? When I'm asking myself questions in my mind, who is that voice talking to? Why am I trying to rationalize with myself?
Yeah,
that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, well, we're gonna.
Am I right? Like, how weird is that?
Yeah, I think everyone, it's probably everyone has direct experience having, too mmany conversations with the yogoic mind, and then, having those beautiful experiences where we
Yeah.
connect to our intuition, and, we go with the first thought, the gut feeling, and that's the work of life, distinguishing between the egoic mind and the heart and the spirit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, I love what you talk about, connecting more to a different frequency. That's not really what we know as the say the society's frequency. Right? I want to ask you, you told me last time that you've implemented this into your workforce, right? And your team, you walk into your office with a smile on your face and everyone's smiling. Do you feel like you've passed that on, all this knowledge, to them? Do you feel like your energy makes them feel more at ease, or more at, maybe not so much at ease, but if I'm trying to ask the question, do you feel like they have absorbed your energy?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's probably a question that we could ask a lot of them, and I'm sure they'd all have kind of mixed answers. But yeah, they definitely have absorbed a big part of who I am and my essence and the energy that I bring into the office. There's a huge mural that goes 20 meters down the wall. We've got an amazing vertical wall garden. We've got plants throughout the whole office. Upstairs we've just got natural light beaming through. We play awesome music in the office. People bring their dogs to work. It's a real sort of casual environment, but we get shit done, and we work with multinational companies, and we're always taking on new challenges. So yeah, like if I walk into my office, the experience that I have is everyone's laughing, everyone's like brothers in there, everyone's having a really good time. I feel like if someone's having a bad time at home, they're gonna love coming into my office, because they get a sense of this real relaxed, co-working, co-collaborative sort of space, with a lot of high performers, and everyone's eating good food in there. We collect our own water from Mount Buang. We've got chill out spaces.
Sorry, hold on. You collect your own water.
Yeah.
Let's elaborate on that, please.
Let's rewind. So most people know that our body is in circa sort of somewhere around 70% water, and the mass of the earth is about sort of 70% water as well. So water is like a really important thing, where we consume it from the time we get up to the time we go to bed. So for me, it's one of, if not the most important things that we need to look at and address within health and within consumption. So Mount Buang it's a natural spring. It's up near Warburton. It's about an hour's drive from the office, and they have some of the most pure, cleanest, mineralized water on the planet. And there's a collection point there where you can take your own water bottles. And yeah, we've created a bit of a habit in the office where people will rotate. All the on-site guys that have got the vans, they'll kind of go through a rotation system. Once a month or once every 2 months, they'll sort of take 30, 40, large 15-liter bottles down there, and they'll collect rainwater or spring water, for the office, and they bring it back, and that'll last us about 8 weeks. So everyone has this really, revitalizing, energetic water in the office. So just that alone, I know has a huge impact on the environment.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
We drink I guess mineral water a lot at home, but like when you run out and you have to drink the tap water.
Yeah.
And then we say Melbourne's got some of the best water in the world, but still you can taste the chlorine. Like, am I crazy that I'm tasting chlorine in this water?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they add into the water that just shouldn't be in the water. Like, we just don't need it, and it has a negative impact on our health. So I'm sure we've got state-of-the-art processing plants and the latest technology, but the stuff in the water that just doesn't agree with the human body. So I choose not to consume any water that comes from the tap. I've even got a filter on my shower head as well at home.
Really?
And I really look forward to the day where I live off grid and I collect my own water as well, and I'm just completely away from town water. Yeah. Or I also look forward to the day where just the consciousness rises in local communities, and we can have a say in what we put in our town water as well. Like sometimes it's not about breaking away from the system or creating a new system. It's just about taking control back of a system that we should have a say in. So for me, the community should vote on what we put in the water, but to this present day, it's not a choice that the community has.
That's a very solid point. It's something that we have no choice to consume.
Yeah.
And yet we have no decision-making power.
Yeah.
That's a very solid point.
Yeah. So, I feel like the tide is changing in a lot of those sort of...
And I guess that's why maybe the whole issue with vaccines, it's the same thing. We have no choice but to have these vaccines, but we don't have a choice in what goes in them. And I'm not a scientist or anything, but surely there should be.
Yeah, well, I read an article just recently, and it was, I think America's going through a more rapid shift than Australia at the moment, but there was an article that was published saying that if your family or your parents are worth a net amount, or they make a certain amount, then they're actually exempt from getting vaccines now. And it was just the lower...
what?
Yeah, the lower sort of population, the lower demographics that were still having the enforcement to get vaccines. So now they're creating sort of categories on sort of who's exempt and who's not exempt. And then, you've got all these countries that are banning it and bringing back in free will and choice. So I feel like Australia will get there, and we'll go full circle as well. And it's just a matter of time to sort of see that cycle play out. But, that's kind of sort of what I'm observing right now. But yeah, Australia is very rigid, and, the pharmaceuticals have got a real sort of stranglehold on Australia. Yeah.
It's so important to observe. That's a very powerful statement.
Yeah.
That's important to observe first of what's going on and make sure that you have an informed decision. I guess when you're doing anything, really, like make an informed decision based on what's going on.
Yeah, we live in this crazy information data age, like what you were saying before. We're going to like, hey Google, like, we're living in this age with so much information. So how do we have discernment, and how do we have the time and the mental capacity to sort of sort through that information, and how do we arrive at what's true and what's not true, and I feel like that's not an overnight ability to develop. It's something that's incremental, and it's something that's developed over time. And for me, it's like when I want to find out about a new topic or about something now, I use like 4, 5, 6 different lenses to arrive at the truth. Am I resonating with the person? Do they actually honor and respect their own body? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do they eat clean, wholesome food? Because if they're putting junk food into their body, I'm probably not going to listen to them straight off the bat. Because, if they're not looking after their body, they're not connected to the earth. They're not connected to the earth. They're going to have, a muddy mind. They're not going to be thinking clear. They're going to be easily persuaded by different agendas and people trying to push narratives. So that's the first thing I look at if I'm going to take advice from someone or look for guidance. My first lens is like, do they actually honor and respect their body? Are they a heart-centered sort of person? Not so much what are their qualifications, but what are they doing in the world? Like
how good are they at making decisions based? Or rather finding
like
the
what
truth?
Impact are they having on the world? What are they actually up to in the world? They're the type of lenses that I'll put in to kind of evaluate. And then
but that's nice. You have a value set. That helps you, that guides you into making the right decisions, whether it's based on someone or based on something. Right? Yeah,
totally a value set that I've developed over the years, and then I certainly will apply that to the person I'm doing due diligence on, or the information that I'm reading.
Absolutely.
And then eventually you arrive at all these people on the same frequency as you, and then you've got this digital army or this digital community, and once you connect with someone that's on that same level, you're not going to take everything that they say for gospel, but 8, 9 times out of 10, the things that they're researching and posting, you're gonna look at them closely, So I've developed this incredible I'll call it like an online sort of community where, you know, it's people that have done the work, they're change makers in the world, they're making an impact, they look after their body, and they're all pretty aligned with the stuff they're speaking about. And the stuff they do speak about, you know, they're so ahead of the curve, you know, and then you start to see it happen in 6 months, 12 months or 2 years. So they're like time travelers. They're already seeing what the future's going to look like.
Yeah. And the thing about surrounding yourself with these people is that you grow so much faster as well.
Totally,
These people are just...
Absolutely. You know? It's incredible because we're moving to this open-sourced community kind of centric sort of decentralized network. It's like I listened to a podcast the other day. It's like, you know, there's thousands of years of wisdom and knowledge to build like a permaculture farm, but is every community going to kind of go through that process to go through all the errors and making mistakes and researching it, or is one community just going to have a guide and a blueprint to pass on to the next community or the next country or the next state? And that's when we're moving into this open sourced movement and living, where we can share like what's working and what's not working really, really quickly and effective. And we're moving away from this like this sort of trying to compete with everyone as well. It's like, I don't want to share that with this person because then they're going to steal my idea. And you know, whereas you know, the people I'm surrounded with, they're more like, oh, I'd love to like help you and share that with you because it's going to play a part in creating a better world and creating more leaders, you know? Yeah. And they're not in fear or scarcity on sharing some information with the other person.
Yeah. That'd be a nice place to live.
Yeah.
Enjoying this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah.
Really in flow. Yeah.
It is, yeah?
Yeah.
But, by the way, I just realized I've worked out yesterday that the trick to getting into a cold water is just a sprint. Just a sprint into the water and just don't give a shit. Interesting. Don't let your mind think.
Yeah, it's definitely one.
Your mind is a bit of a son of a bitch. Yeah. It's the Antichrist.
Well, I've got this thing, you know, 3, 2, 1, get shit done. So.
Oh, I like that.
The 3 second rule. So you can apply it to anything in life.
Jarrod Conroy, 3, 2, 1, get shit done.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first.
I can't take credit for it, but you know, I surround myself with.
You have now. It's imprinted
I own
on
that Google.
Just like we have 20 billion listeners to this podcast.
Right.
Yeah? We own it. It's here.
Yeah. So cool.
Tell me, I want to talk about your biohacking because this space is close to my heart as well. How did you go with those glasses that you got?
Which ones?
You were opening up your
right. Yeah. So
package in our meeting. You're so excited for it.
Yeah. So I'm just super passionate about that whole space at the moment, and you know, I certainly have a bit of an addictive personality gene. So when I see something, I apply the addictive personality gene, the impulse buying, and the 3, 2, 1 get shit done. And I end up with like 5 or 6 packages arriving at my office every day. So, but yeah, back to the question on the blue light glasses. I'd been running with a couple of the yellow lenses, which are more for like, you know, during the day, if you're inside exposed to blue light. But yeah, the other pair I got were like a clear lens, so they were more of a sort of aesthetically sort of pleasing if you're not into the yellow lenses.
Did you bring them today?
Which I am. I don't have them with me. No. Yeah, I do have the yellow ones with me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Get them out. Yeah. Let's have a look. These are pretty cool. It's like we're just taking a trip into 2040 right now. Let's have a look at these bad boys.
So these are like aviator style, so I kind of look like
a bit
of a like 50s sort of drug dealer, you know. Let me just give them a bit of a polish up.
This would have fit what I was describing today, like going on a dance floor with the flares, white flares and the white shirt. This is perfect.
Yeah, these are really funky.
I'm trying to convince my partner to let me have a mustache. But she looked at one of my pictures and she laughed, so I don't know how to take
these with a mustache. Like, yeah, your podcast would go exponential straight away. Talk about the edge.
Oh damn! Look.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. No, these are called Swan 6, so they're like they're an American brand. They got really good lenses, and Yeah,
Dude,
I'm all for the aviator.
that is cool,
style.
man.
Yeah.
That is cool. When I used to fly small Cessna planes, and I specifically went out to get aviators just for that because you have to be the part.
You have to like be the whole sort of Tom
Yeah.
Cruise sort of
Yeah, exactly.
look. Yeah.
Just anyone would talk to me, I'd just take them off and give them the stare. Like, you got to do it. Why not? Dude, they look cool, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So blue light blockers, what are they?
Are they on the inside tinted as well, or just on the front? Like, where's the magic happening, on the front or through the whole lens?
Yeah, I don't know the manufacturing process, but I think it's just the whole lens.
Because I'm just seeing like the light we have here, if that's bouncing in from this side, is the blue light bouncing back in?
Yeah, you can get, they make like nighttime ones, which are like fully sealed around the edges. But from some of the research that I've heard, the extra benefits by having like a fully closed lens isn't that substantial.
Right.
But I think it is really good for the nighttime one because you're literally blocking out all the light and you've got the red light lenses.
Yeah.
But I think for the sake of like a daytime use lens, then this is doing the majority of the blue light, the sort of the junk light. So these are definitely more than enough for,
Yeah, that's cool, man.
for during the day. Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
So they're working well. You said that you feel more tired when you've got the.
Well, essentially, what the blue light, the impacts that it has on our bodies and our cell is that it damages the cells of the retina. So and from the research that I've done, like that can't be recovered either. So it's like like gradual chipping away at the cellular level of your retinas.
Yeah.
So that's why people end up losing their eyesight when they get to a certain age. So these are protecting your retinas from the blue light, the junk light. It's kind of just like pollution, right? And kind of like why we have junk mail on our emails to stop things coming into our fields that are not beneficial for us. So, so also it's impacting your melatonin. So you're gonna generate less melatonin when you go to sleep. So it's going to impact your sleep cycles, your circadian rhythm. It also impacts, your nervous system. So, your sympathetic nervous system as well. All the blue light, it's going to put you more on edge. It's going to just put your, the energetics of your body out of whack. So
I remember taking cold showers, and I know you do them too.
Yeah.
The cold showers at night just put you straight to bed.
Yeah.
For me, they would just, like, within about 10 minutes of getting out of a cold shower, I'm dead asleep.
Again, it's a reset to the whole central nervous system, So if you've had a day in the office and you've had coffees and you're under stress, running between meetings, your nervous system is going to be very stimulated. So meditation, there's breathing techniques that'll get you into the parasympathetic nervous system, things like cold showers, different herbs that are going to also sort of support the nervous system. So any of those are going to they're going to get you to sleep quicker. You're going to sleep for deeper, for longer, and have, better sleep cycles, better REM sleep as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, what was the first biohacking thing that you came across?
Oh, it's really interesting because I essentially, everyone's a biohacker, especially, the ancient people of this world, So like we have this thing that biohacking's like gadgets and toys, but a lot of the biohacking community at the moment are talking about things like earthing and grounding and like these are ancient things that have been around forever, but we're just sort of catching up now onto the benefits of, just standing on the grass for 2 times for 20 minutes a day, but I started more off in the esoteric sort of quantum realm, like I really, I went to the Amazon, I drank plant medicine with, sort of sacred communities, and I was really into like things like Nikola Tesla, and I a lot of people kind of start the other way and then move into more of the vibrational sort of technologies, but I really just got super drawn and into the vibrational sort of.
Well, you come from an electrical background.
Right, exactly, yeah. So even things like instruments, I learned to play the didgeridoo, and like the sensation, the vibrations that would send through my body, and the constant breathing, the circular breathing, the vibration the sound, the actual vibration of the didgeridoo, the breathing, things like that. I was just really into, you know, sort of 6-7 years ago.
How amazing is a didgeridoo that it's got that perfect pitch? It's like it's one note and it's the perfect note. Like if you just get the harmonics going.
Yeah,
the didgeridoo, it's just
the note of the didgeridoo is based on the shape that the termites carve out and the shape that whoever's creating the didgeridoo kind of creates it as. So that's what's so fascinating. You can have a C, you can have a D, you can have an E, depending on the shape, the type of tree that came through, you know, the swamp of termites that came through.
It's amazing.
And then I personally just ended up I would just pick up one and play a bunch of them and end up resonating with a certain note and
I got a D.
And take it from there.
I think my one's a D.
Yours is a D?
Yeah, it's a nice tone.
Nice.
It's a nice tone, yeah. When it's played, it resonates the whole house.
So you got one as well. I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
My brother actually bought it for me when he went to Alice Springs.
Okay.
I want to say.
Nice.
And he just brought it back.
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, learn to play this."
I love it.
And as soon as I learned to, I never understood circular breathing, and I just like play the one note until I ran out of breath.
That's how we all start, right? Yeah, there you go again.
And then I learned circular breathing, and then
nice, you got it?
Yeah, just so nice.
What an amazing feeling when you kind of just get that rhythm going. It's just,
It's using so many parts of your brain to make that function happen.
Right?
So good.
Yeah. It's kind of like the, you know, rubbing the head and the stomach at the same time. You know, it's just so counterintuitive to inhale oxygen whilst we're exhaling, you know. It's like so counterintuitive. So.
I don't have that clean flow though. Like it's like, and then I can hear the breathing coming in. It's like more of a push of an air, but I got to work on that.
I mean, how boring would it be if we could all just pick up a didgeridoo and be perfect at it from day one, right? I think
that's true.
Adds to the experience going through that journey, learning circular breathing and, you know, getting the straw out in the cup and doing the cheek exercises.
Straw in the cup?
Yeah, you can just get a straw and put it in a cup of water and you just blow the water whilst you try to inhale oxygen at the same time. So it's just a lot less work on the muscles in your cheek and your jaw. So it's like you can gradually build up.
Less distraction so you can focus on getting the circulation right. That's cool.
Yeah, just less pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when was your first biohacking experience?
Well, as I said, I've always been biohacking with just, you know, being in nature and things like that. But getting into like the whole science of it, into the biohacking community, it was only actually last year. I think I moved more into a ketogenic diet, right? So I was getting more into the fats and putting butter in my coffee, and you know I was always into Tim Ferriss and those sort of people. And I came across Dave Asprey on a Tim Ferriss podcast, and just the way Dave Asprey was articulating his story and all of his products, and how much like he's like the opposite to me. Like he's got the engineering mind, and he can just go like he's just like he's on another level. You know, the depth that he goes to and how he can just like quantify and pull everything together so quickly through, you know, like self experience. It just blew my mind. I was like, this guy is on another level. Like, and listening to his journey on all the illnesses that he had, you know, he had like mold toxin poisoning from a young age, and like he could barely function. You know, his brain fog was just like ridiculous, and you know, his energy levels, and he felt like he was a 6-year-old when he was sort of 30. And yeah, listening to his story and you know, doing more research into his company Bulletproof, and then, you know, going through his products, and then listening to his podcast that, you know, all the, you know, the global leaders in all different fields. It really just sparked something inside of me. And so I picked up some of his books actually whilst I was just on Audible while I was in Switzerland last year, and I just went deep into all of his books on Audible, and it just kind of that was the domino effect for me. So I think one of the first things I did was definitely buy a pair of blue light blockers straight away. I went and bought myself an Oura ring that you know measures my sleep. I've got a continuous glucose monitor in my on my arm at the moment, so I get 24/7 blood glucose reading, so I can
manipulate as you need.
I can see what foods spike my.
So that thing it's like just a patch.
It's got a little pin, so it just pierces your skin, and it's got the smarts built into that, but it's not like emitting Bluetooth and things like that all day. You literally just hold your phone against it when you scan it, and it can hold up to 8 hours of data.
So it's using that pass filter, or that's using that pass.
It's using
pass data or whatever it is.
Yeah, it stores
like tapping your phone.
Yeah, it can store the data there for 8 hours, and I literally just hold the phone against it, and then I'll upload the data.
Cool, man. So what's it tell you? Just glucose?
Just glucose. I would love if it would do like ketosis as well.
But it's just inversed. It's just there's only two things in there, right? Like glucose or ketones.
Yeah.
So if the glucose is down, that means your ketones are high. So it's just an inverse. Oh my god, my words! I'm losing my words here. But an inverse number.
Yeah.
An inverse. Okay, let's just. You know what I'm trying
to say.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of apps coming out now that are like. There's a bunch of apps that are integrating into this, because I mean this device is just invented for people with diabetes. So
inversely proportionate.
Yeah.
To the glucose and.
Yeah, you can reverse engineer the equation for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know when I used to take so when I was doing keto, I would jab myself with the ketone strips just to check what's going on.
Yeah.
So when my ketones were low, so my glucose was through the roof. And then when my ketones were really high, my glucose just dropped almost equally.
Mm. Yeah, well, ideally you want a steady baseline for your glucose. So when you eat food, you don't want your glucose levels to spike. It's when you eat foods that spike your insulin, that's when you're going to have huge increases. But you're gonna hit to be in ketosis, you need your blood sugars to be stable essentially. Because as soon as you eat something that spikes your blood glucose, it's gonna knock you out of ketosis straight away. Yeah. So if you were to have a Coca-Cola, and you're in ketosis, it's gonna knock you out straight away, and your blood glucose is gonna spike. The interesting thing is with this device is like being present to the impact of eating something and how long it affects your blood glucose for. Like you could eat some some deep fried chips, and that's gonna like play mayhem on your blood glucose for the next 5 hours.
Really?
So that's when if you eat something at the start of the day like a muffin, you're gonna your discipline and your glucose, it's like it's all over for the rest of the day, because it can last for 5-6 hours,
Really?
So yeah.
Why? Is it because it's got it's a low glycemic food? So the energy gets distributed a lot slower?
It's not low GI, it'd be like it's
potatoes high GI, yeah.
White potatoes are, and then you got all the oils and the trans fats and things like that as well. Yeah. So they're knocking your levels all over the place as well.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I've only had this in a couple of days, so it's cool.
Did it hurt going in?
No, you don't feel it.
Really?
Yeah, you can go in the sauna, you can swim with it up to sort of 3 meters in depth, and you kind of just last for sort of 14 days. So
you don't want to go any more than 3 meters deep anyway.
Hey?
You don't want to go any more deep than 3 meters.
I'm not with this thing on anyway, but you do if you want to go spearfishing or.
Do you spearfish?
I've been spearfishing. I don't spear my fish every night.
Do you
or
have a
anything
wetsuit?
Like that. Yeah, I've got a wetsuit. Yeah.
Do you want to come with us? We've been spearfishing.
Have you? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I've got the itch for like anything that's sort of primal or.
You should come down for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll go spearfishing out in the reefs.
Amazing.
We've seen pufferfish. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wanted to kill it. She had this killing mentality. I'm like, man, just relax. Let's just enjoy the ocean. She's like, let's kill it.
So this is the primal side coming out.
It's because I've been cooking her steaks.
Yeah,
that's
okay, yeah.
It's
steaks are going to do that.
Steaks.
Get the test up, get the B12 up. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's amazing. I have a few friends that are really into free diving, and like they can hold their breath for 4 minutes, man.
It's amazing, isn't it? I
can hold my breath for I think 1:40 in bed, and like when I'm just fully relaxed, not moving. As soon as I get in the water, it's max 30 seconds.
Yeah,
because you're kicking and you just
heart rate's going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I read something that really eased my mind. So I've been doing this for about 2 years now. but on and off. So I'm not really into it that much as I used to be. But someone said to me, when you're underwater and you feel like you're running out of breath, like don't panic. Just remember that when you're in bed or when you're relaxing, you can hold your breath for like 2 minutes. So when you're running out of breath underwater, just relax again. You're not gonna die. Just slowly come back up to the top and just take it easy.
Yeah.
And that really eased my mind. Like my brain's telling me that I'm gonna die, but all the training I've done tells me I've got more reserves in there. Like your heart, just your diaphragm just wants to pull in that air. You're like, just relax.
we can trick our mind into doing anything. Like it's like our subconscious can't tell the difference between reality and non-reality, right?
Oh,
so
shit, that's
we
a
can
good
be
point.
like, you can sit here and say, you know, I'm a billionaire. Your subconscious is going to start to believe that, and eventually you're going to become.
Well, dude, you look like a billionaire with those glasses.
Eventually you're going to become in what you constantly repeat to your subconscious mind, you know? So it's like one of the quickest way to hacks everything is, you know, re-imprint your subconscious mind. And I did it this morning. When you go back to the whole sort of cold water thing, I went for a dip in the ocean this morning, and it was after 30 minutes of sort of deep breath work. So I was just like super calm and sort of connected to the earth. But I moved up to the water's edge, and my toes started to touch the water, and I could feel the cold, and the wind was blowing. So I was cold, but I was like, this is amazing because I know what cold does for the body. And rather than being like, oh, I don't want to get in there, it's going to make me cold, I kind of just stood there and I was like, what I'm about to do is going to be so amazing for my body.
Yeah.
You know, what it's going to do for my brown fat and my nervous system and my mitochondria. I'm going to feel amazing after I get out of here. And then I just went into gratitude. I'm like, fuck, I'm so grateful for this water right now. I'm about to be immersed in this cold, thermogenic sort of environment. And I just got in there. It was amazing. And I ended up swimming underwater for about 45 seconds, just scoping out the bottom of the ocean.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm terrible with the cold. Like we'll walk on the beach and she'll be right into the water, and that little bit touches my toe, and I'm like, I can't do it.
It's very quickly to talk yourself out of it.
Yes, I'm notorious for that.
3, 2, 1.
That's true.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Get shit done. I love that, dude. What's on the agenda for you in the near future? What cool shit's going down?
Yeah, so I'm all about focus, you know, and focusing on sort of the one thing, or the one thing that's going to create the most sort of fulfillment, or something that's like, you know, aligned to my highest values. So at the moment, I'm focusing on bringing the world's best keynote speakers in the biohacking space over to Australia.
That's exciting.
You know, they run. A lot of people are familiar with like Upgrade Labs over in California, and then you've got the Health Optimization Summit in the UK, and then you've got the Biohackers Summit over in Europe. It's going to be in Amsterdam this year, but there's nothing of its kind in Australia where we're bringing the world's best people and, you know, bringing, you know, 1,000+ people that are really immersed in the community together, and then, you know, all the exhibitors from all over the world to showcase the latest, you know, modern science and modern technology. So, you know, bridging those worlds between the speakers and the technology and the community. That's what I'm putting together at the moment. So I'm pretty immersed in that at the moment. And then, you know, working on the business as well. So, you know, the 3 renewable energy companies, Prana Energy, Bunjil Energy, and Volt Pharma, are all still going through like rapid growth. You know, we're looking at different exit strategies and you know, private equity groups that are wanting to sort of buy into some of the businesses. We're, you know, developing our first solar farm that's going to have the carbon soil sequestration built into it with science and data as well, so we can create a blueprint where we can regenerate all the land and the soil throughout Australia as well, and create fertility and hydrology for a lot of the farmers that are going through drought at the moment. So
Nice.
I've got an amazing business partner in that business, Volt Pharma. So Stephen does a lot of the heavy lifting there, and I kind of just am a supporting sort of partner when he needs me. But yeah, really just, focusing on the culture within the businesses, because for me, that's the most important thing. If you get the culture right, you attract the right people, and then you attract the right opportunities, and the companies take care of themselves. So, we had our first company sort of get together last week, and we went through our why and where we're going, and what are our targets, and what do we want to achieve this year, and sort of bringing it all back to culture as well. And a big thing for me in 2020 is just having fun. Like, as you said before, you can lay down under the stars at night and be like, what the fuck are we doing here? So that's a big thing for me this year as well. It's just having fun, so we got the new wave park in Melbourne now, so I've got 2-3 sessions a week booked in at the wave park. I'm going bouldering, I'm going rock climbing, we're going to go spearfishing. My girlfriend lives in Byron Bay, so I'm up there every month, doing cool shit up there, and building this biohacking community. We're doing ice bars, we're doing saunas, we're doing breath work, awesome, all locally here in St Kilda. So it's really about having fun this year for me, and consolidating the businesses that I've built to date, and really growing this biohacking community and spreading the wisdom and the knowledge out to the wider community, so we can all have better health, feel better, and do more in the world when we have more energy to give. Amazing. Yeah.
Dude, it sounds like you're living life in 2020.
Yeah, I feel really sort of purposefully driven at the moment, which is that's when you end up in these states of flow, and it's just so euphoric when you're in these states, because time's non-existent. You choose who you want to hang out with, you choose what you want to do, and it's just it's like it's a sense of euphoric sort of continuous kind of magic, just spiraling through life. So that's it's a good place to be in, and having just having that knowing that we can choose. We're sovereign beings that create our realities. So we can live a life by design and a life by choice, and that's what I choose to do.
Dude, that's a very uplifting last message to anyone listening, is that just get your shit done in business and then go find yourself.
Yeah, or even the other way around. Maybe go find yourself first, if you're a little lost in between having to pay the bills and have a roof over your head. But, like even that's a limitation. Like people get so stuck in fear, like they can't quit their job, or they can't leave a toxic environment because they're in fear. There's places where you can live for free, and you can go and work on, organic farms. You can live in ashrams. There's Vipassana retreats that are free all over the world. You can go to the Amazon and volunteer. There's all of these places where you can actually go disconnect from these, wild, crazy, dense cities, and go find yourself in nature.
Disconnect a bit.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, exactly. So it's like you don't even need money to do these things. Money is just another construct that that a lot of people are chained to as well,
Absolutely.
So that would certainly be my advice for anyone that's not happy, or they don't know where they're going. Literally go and find yourself. Go and do a Vipassana for 10 days. Go and take up, holotropic breath work, and do some sort of trauma release, that's kind of stuck in the body. All of this stuff is for free. Nature's for free as well.
Yeah.
Go swim in the ocean every day.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. It's been great to connect again.
What an awesome conversation.
Yeah. I can't wait to work with you more. I know we're going to be doing some cool stuff with marketing and videos around this biohacking event and the businesses. So stoked to team up with you, and
absolutely
shout out to who connected us in the first
Fabian.
Place. It was Fabian.
The
yeah.
Man.
So yeah,
he was on this show the other day.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. You're gonna have to listen to that, man. It's just some crazy.
Yeah,
shit
I can imagine that guy was already on like on another level. I'd love to reconnect with Fabes and see where he's at in 2020. We should do a podcast with all three of us. Yeah, man, that'd be cool. Epic. Yeah. If not, we should definitely go get a bulletproof coffee and
let's do
talk
it, man.
All things life.
Let's do it.
Great.
All right, man. Thanks so much.
Awesome.
We're out.